Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to demo the new and upcoming operator for random flow, which is the random symbols. Basically this makes it easier for you to generate those alien fonts or random uh, decals or symbols in this case on the surface of the mesh. But before that, we're going to model something simple to actually hold those symbols. Just a simple sci-fi kind of story. So the operator is almost finished. I'm just trying to solve a few more built-in functions. So there's the unified mesh where all the symbols are one object, and there's the non-unified mesh, which basically every symbol is one object, so it makes it easier for you to pick it up and or select it, um, which is useful if you were using the operator on just a plane to generate those designs, those decals. You can bake into textures or images, so you can just pick each one of the symbols without going to edit mode and box selecting or circle selecting. Bottom mirror X, Y, and Z, and actually let's apply this. And I forgot to set or create additional edge flow. So Control E. So it's not here. Select edge ring. There we go. And WS to subdivide. Then select the edge rings again and look tools circle. And then select all the faces and press F to close the holes. And should have done it when creating cylinder, but I just thought of showing you how it's done when things are too late. You can just use loop tools. Okay, Auto-Smooth. This is simple. Let me just save this. R symbols 02. Okay, just checking the camera. Pre-select. If you haven't downloaded the or purchased pre-select yet, you can purchase it in Blender Market for $2. Okay. One. Is the number of maximum panel size. Set this to on because we're not really dealing with really angular stuff here, so there's no danger of creating those geometric spiking. So you can just use even depth on. Actually, this one, and let's create notches. Okay, that's good. And let's play around with the depth. Depth seed. So you can see there's the top faces on that part is a bit too thin, so let's just decrease the thickness. There we go. Or not. There we go. And actually, let's set this to color selection. In the update, I will be setting this to on by default. Okay. clear selection because we have pre-select now, and it works really great with random flow with the clear selection settings on. So yeah, like select this, and then selecting the spaces, panels, use this panel size. Probably too much. So the only disadvantage of clipping the center is that with cylinders, on the top of cylinders, you can see this one here. That's the disadvantage of clipping the center line because start out real. The vertices are so close in the central areas, and you get that. But the only solution to that is to find out or to get a pattern that's not that where there's no split line in the center line in the symmetry lines, just to avoid those. So like that. So let's just so something like this without the center line. And let's get rid of the notches. I'll probably just reduce it to 1 or 2. There we go. And here, I'm going to add this. And just add other buttons. Probably just use something like 3 to avoid the banding, subdivision banding. Okay. So there's a bit of subdivision banding here, so we're going to get rid of that with the smooth sharp operator. There we go. And here we select add-on. We're going to use the floater mesh inner. So this will just generate the cut lines and make it look like it's a part of the mesh underneath without actually cutting the or creating additional faces. It's not really cutting the mesh because this is non-destructive. There we go. So this is what it looks like. When you render it, it looks like it's uh, it's part of the mesh. Okay, now we're going to just shade this and put some lights, and then we're going to try out the symbols. I already have a working preset for the symbols, and it's good. It has triangulation and poke faces functionality, and you can use those to actually create really strange patterns to create those interesting symbols or alien fonts as we once made before. Okay, so extras, shading, and open materials. I'm just going to use the some materials, airflow metal. And we're still going to edit this because this is designed for the basic cube. Going to edit this. Ooh, I should probably use that. Sometimes there's no undo for the randomization of the Gopher add-on. So if you undo this, it's not going to go back to the. I wonder why they should put an undo history to that. Because when you're clicking, if you click too much, you're going to go past the ones that you actually like. Okay. Edge mask, just one. Let's see. 0.01. So the one before is the strength. Cavity, peaks, threshold. Actually, let's reduce the saturation to zero point 0.3 and copy this over to the quick dirt. And let's see the quick dirt. And decrease the threshold. Scratches is good. And play around with the metal. Something like V5. There you go. And copy. Let's test out two. There you go. And bit of let's random shade the different islands using random vertex color and no saturation. So as you may notice, I often just use the no saturation in my videos. And that is because if I do use color, it's gonna take a long time for me to actually get the color that I want. But we're gonna try today. But the base will still be the non-color. So island and so three steps, which means there's three gradations of the value here, color value. So four steps, four gradations, and going to add a saturated color right here. But to add it manually, we're going to use rate of flow, vertex color set. There you go. And to add that vertex color, go to input, attributes, make sure that you have node wrangler on for this menu to fill up. And this one here, vertex color, is the one that it has been created using the random vertex color operator. Okay, and set this up as the base color. And then we're going to control its intensity using the overlay. And set this to 1, overlay max factor. And you can see here, kind of can control the intensity. Whereas if you are using color ramp, this will definitely turn the saturated color into a black and white text, black and white color, black to desaturated color. Okay, so just gonna add more detail here using the strips or the floater mesh inner floater mesh inner preset. You can see that it looks like we're just creating panel cuts on the surface of the mesh, but in actuality it's another object. So the only way to tell the difference is that if you really zoom in, you can tell that it is a different object. Okay, now we have our model. Now we're going to create use the random symbols font. There's still no, this is mirrored, but I think I have disabled mirroring. First, let's just try creating symbols. So each face, if you have no subdivision, will represent a single symbol. If you subdivide this, those each of these individual faces will represent a single symbol. Subdivide it again. So there's two subdivision here, and I'm going to show you in random symbols. There's two subdivision here, the base cut and the face cut. So uh, so this is the base cuts, which lets you control how many symbols are going to be in your selected faces. So if there's no subdivision, you can just count the individual faces as the original individual faces as the single symbols, or representing a single symbol. And if you subdivide this, then so this is base cut, then this is how many symbols you have with subdivision level 1. And the face cut that is here represents the subdivision for each of the symbols, which is going to be used to create the details using the algorithm that is being used uh, with being used from other operators like random loop extrude and random patterns. So more faces means more details, and this is the face cuts here. So if you subdivide, so these are the face cut, this is the base cut, and this is the face cut. Okay, and let's try it out. And by default, this adds an emit shader, and this is the preset, first preset that I made for it. So this is subdivided 6 times, but if we use 0, this is basically your this is basically 4 symbols, which represents 4 faces. So if we want to add more detail to each symbol, we subdivide the faces using this. If we want more symbols, we subdivide the base. Okay. So let's just use subdivision level 1 for the base, and let's try and so the structure or the dimension of each symbol will be dependent on the face. So if you want to edit the face, you need to duplicate the original, duplicate and separate as a separate object, and then you can rearrange the topology to affect the result of the randomization. So I'm still working on actually making it work with operator like mesh extract or extract faces for that very purpose. Okay, random symbols and walk longest. So I should set this to 1. So this is our symbol. Let's try using 0 base cuts, like I said. So we have the outer margin, and we have the margin for the symbol itself. And we have the scale, which will randomize the scale of each symbol. So let's just set this to 1. And we have the offset, which will offset it from the mesh. So there's no randomization for that. And we have the triangulation. You triangulate the faces, and then you can poke it. So you can use percentage or integer using this mode here. So we triangulate and poke. Let's just go back to number. And we have the panel amount right here. And this is the smoothing. So it's just point 0.1. So you can use the parameters to really create some interesting patterns. You can add notches, and of course you can use other uh, solvers. So less panel size means more detail. So let's use something like 20. Triangulation and no poking. You get something like this. So it's much more stable without the triangulation. You get a lot more squarish faces. Shortest. You can grab these two here and actually affect their size. There we go. So that's one way to generate the kind of like an alien inscription on the surface. Okay, let's delete that and try it on. So by default, this also uses the floater technique being used by this one here. You don't have to turn it on. It is on. It will be on by default because that is the nature of the functionality. Run symbols. There we go. That's just to generate those LED. You get more dots if you have more notches. Should be on by default, I guess. Oops, the offset. So this is basically like really beta. So adding some notches and some triangulation. Let's reduce the. So there's some distortion there. The offset. Is it the offset? No. The inner margin. Yes, and we should also soften that. Increase the maximum number of panel size. There you go. So you can create a lot of combinations using this, and let's just decrease the panel amount. Playing around, just playing around with the settings. There you go. So to change the color of the shader, is there any? I think I can put a color bar or not. You just have to go to the shader. I think it's not possible to put a color bar under the panel. So those can represent alien language. There you go. And let me try and read it. Okay, so yeah, it's really good. Yeah, let's try and apply the mirror of this and create some symbols right here, which is going to be different than the one we have on the other side. Just click any of the, there you go. Actually, let's have, and you can pick it and just delete it. Let's try, oops, this one. Just the entire, there you go. Let's mirror it on the Z. As of now, there's still no mirror, so, but that's going to be added in the final product. There you go. So this is what I think is missing for 3D artists. Uh, Random language generator. They look legit too. Let's let's try this really thin faces. There you go. So the size of the faces will affect the result of the pattern. Longest base cuts. So you want more squarish symbols, then you of course will need to generate those kinds of faces. So let's not use triangulation, let's use poke. There you go. So what happens is the faces are triangulated first, and um, the faces from your selection, when subdivided or not subdivided, randomly the script picks faces based on integer or percentage, and those faces are then triangulated or poked. So, so percentage of those faces are triangulated, and then after those triangulation has happened, if any of the faces can be poked from that triangulation, then the poking will happen. The face poking will happen based on integer or percentage, and you can generate like you can combine these two to generate really strange patterns, and you can of course smooth them. So the way the smoothing works, this globe thing here, when it's on, uh, okay, when it's on, it means that the source mesh is smoothed first before it is subdivided and then randomized. And if this is off, then the mesh is smoothed after the subdivision and the randomization. And that is what's happening. Okay, so that's our symbol. This is poke. So if you don't know what poke is, it basically just creates a point on the face. So you can find the functionality here, Control F and poke faces. So that's what happens. And this is triangulation. This is triangulation and this is poking. And maybe you can also poke the triangulated faces. So that is why you have triangulation and you can also poke the faces. Yeah. That's what generates the really strange patterns. You can avoid making it too weird by just using zero triangulation and zero poking. So square doesn't really works with triangulations or triangulated faces because it's more in line with really quad based structure. So once you use this, the square algorithm or solver doesn't really work that much. If you have too much triangulation and poke, or each of the faces have been triangulated or poked, each and every one of them. We can go to the, you can pick the mesh and then change the color right here. The in its materials. Mhm. So yeah, that is the random symbols, and this will be in the next update of random flow. If you have bought random flow from the Super High bundle, those will not be updated, of course. So you have to buy the actual product for you to have this. And I think the Super High bundle issued the buyers with uh, sale codes or promo codes for each of the products, so you can use that. I think each of the symbol is quite different from the other. There you go. So just a few more tweaks and this will be good to go. All right. So what do you think about this? You can uh, use the comments to uh, tell me what you think about this new functionality. Okay. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, just comment section or the links in the description. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.